Okay, it's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, great.
How are you
So,
doing? We spoke 1 week ago. It was great.
yeah,
And
yeah,
uh, did you do anything special in these days? Are you following the instructions in the circle community? Anything?
yeah, almost everything except for the connection one. I just spoke to someone in the community about it or in the group
Hmm.
um, that I have, like all of them just go almost without thinking. It just happens, or I do it, let's say like that. But the connection part, it's like for me, like every day I need to connect someone. And after I'm like, I feel like I did everyone and like new people, but sometimes you cannot connect new people, or I feel like that.
Uh-huh.
But and then I'm like, should I just push it, like be like, hey, maybe this is something for you, but they didn't ask for that, or like how,
Have to do it naturally, right? Because
yeah, natural without being pushing.
exactly, because sometimes I feel like it's stay home. I don't want to go out. I don't want to talk to anybody and just to be here. So, how do I connect? Probably we connect everybody at all times nowadays because we have social media, right? If you um, if you give a like to a person, that would be considered as contact somebody.
Yeah, it is meeting someone or contacting someone, but it's also connecting because
You're right.
meeting someone is already, hi, how are you doing? And then making, I think, like talking a bit, or I don't know. And but connecting is really putting one with something else, something with something else.
Oh yeah. Well,
But
I think
I have seen,
we
yeah,
are thinking too much about it. So
yeah.
just
I
let it
think
happen.
also because if you've seen the post in the community, some people were like not even connecting people, but just other things. And I was like, right, you can do that too. It's like,
Exactly.
so maybe I'm doing it, but I'm thinking it needs to happen in a certain way.
Certain ways, yeah. Like, we are overthinking as always.
Yeah. And
But
how has it been for you this week since we spoke?
well, let's begin with that. I would like to ask you a little more about you because the first time we talked, I I don't know if I asked much about your life, but now I would like to know where are you from, about your family, about your childhood. Maybe can you tell me something about that?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm at the moment I'm in Delft exactly, but I live in Amsterdam and I grew up in Amsterdam. And I live with my mom now again, back at my mom, but not in my room, in my brother's room. We switched rooms, or he switched rooms, and I came back, and now I'm in the like kind of an attic for like at my mom's house. It's like where she has her, her stuff, her all the things you don't want in your in your room. So I'm sleeping there, and I have my little setup to work,
Uh-huh.
and I teach people online the Dutch language. And I have recently have a new job at a massage company, and I'm like a front desk there. I'm doing the front desk there, so reception and host. So that's also an interesting experience, very different than I had like with other jobs.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that's it. like what's happening right now.
Anna, you mentioned that you came back to your mom's house.
Yeah.
Where were you living?
So I was traveling and living in Portugal. So I think the first travel was Mexico. I was there for 4 months almost.
Really?
So
When?
yeah, so I always wanted to travel,
Mhm.
and then one day I was just like, let's go. I didn't have that much money, but I was like done. You know that point when you're
Yes.
like,
And when did
I'm
you
done.
come to Mexico? When?
The first time, I'm not even sure anymore. Like times is like, it's all. I think it was 2019. No, later. Mm, Before 2019 or after 2019? I'm not sure. But it was at least a few years before COVID and
Around
everything happened.
around 2019.
Yeah, I think so, but I don't know if it was before that or after.
Uh,
That was my first travel ever, and it was like a point. I was like, now or never. I'm done. I
but you
can't.
were here 4 months.
In Mexico, yeah, I was 4 months there. I think in the like winter time there, it's then summer. I think. So it was from November, December, January, yeah, and end of February I came back.
That's the winter in Mexico City.
Oh, it's winter there. Okay, yeah. In Netherlands, it's also winter that time.
Do you have
Yeah.
relatives here or friends? Where did you
No.
stay?
Hostels. I also did the Workaway website I told you about. So I stayed there
Uh-huh.
2 months at some people in Merida.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I started in Mexico City,
Uh-huh.
and I'm not sure how long I was there, maybe 2 weeks. And I remember the thing was I just went and I had some money and I didn't plan anything. The only thing I had planned was first I went 2 weeks to Curacao because I was like, let me start a bit easy because they speak Dutch there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Curaçao.
it's yeah, in Curacao they speak Dutch because it used to be part of like the Dutch country. Now they have only the same king and queen, but a different like president and everything.
Okay.
So I was like, let me start off easy, and the thing was, I was at the airport and I wanted to take, how do you say that? Like you want to take another flight. Um, like I had to go to Germany, and from Germany I could go to Curacao,
Uh-huh.
and I left the airplane in Germany in Frankfurt,
Ah, the connection
and there were
flight.
the connection flight. Yes, yeah.
So
So
you had to connect your flight, but you didn't take the next plane. You stayed in Curaçao.
no, I went from Netherlands to Frankfurt,
Uh-huh.
and from Frankfurt I had to take a plane to Curacao.
Uh-huh.
And the thing was, I only had planned 2 weeks in Curacao, and 2 weeks Airbnb, I think, or it was maybe 1 or 2 weeks, something like that. But I was in Frankfurt, and they said you cannot enter the airplane if you don't buy your next ticket because
Oh,
I wanted to make a world travel, so I only had like one-way ticket, but it's not allowed. I didn't know that because I didn't search anything up before I left.
okay. And
Yeah, and so when I was at Frankfurt and I had 1 hour to board, like she was like, "You have 5 minutes, and otherwise the plane is leaving without you." And I was stressing and I didn't know how anything worked, and I never traveled in my life. So from there, I decided Mexico because I have to book something. So then I booked the flight from Curacao to Mexico,
no,
and I showed her, and then I could enter the airplane.
really? So you didn't plan to come to Mexico. It was just
No, it was because I was pressured and I was like, if I don't buy anything, I cannot enter the airplane. And I was like, I guess I'm going to Mexico after Curacao.
okay. So you
Yeah.
arrived in Mexico, and what did you do? Because you didn't plan anything.
Yeah, so first I went to Curacao the 2 weeks,
Uh-huh.
and then I went to Mexico, and it was it was so crazy, like such a different vibe. And I also never traveled that much in Europe. So I've been on vacation, maybe 2 weeks max somewhere, but not that much. So when I arrived there, it was overwhelming, and I couldn't find where I had to go. And I was like, what did I do? I don't speak Spanish. I've never traveled, and it was so scary. And then
Yeah.
I remember because I was overwhelmed, and I was just like, I don't know. And then I went into the airport. You had like a kind of a luxury part, and there were couches there, and I was just so tired, and I just sat there, and I was just like on my phone, like, what do I do? And then the most friendliest guy came over. He was like, "Hello, miss. How can I help you?" And it was really a calm voice. I still remember it because it was so kind and so unexpectedly. Well,
A
and he was like,
Mexican guy. It was
"Yeah."
a policeman or
No, he was working there at the hotel. So I was just sitting on the couch without saying anything because I was so tired and overwhelmed, and I was just like sitting down, like.
yeah.
And then he came to me and he was like, "Hey, hello, how can I help you?" And I think he started in Spanish, but I'm not sure. And I was like, "Oh, don't speak Spanish." I think something like that. And then he could speak English
English.
very well, and I was so happy because I was like, maybe he can help me because I'm overwhelmed. So he helped me like, "Oh, you have to do this, and then you can take there a taxi, and you can take this taxi. It's more safe, and we have to watch out for this taxi because he explained to me where it was." And then I booked. The only thing I booked was one night in the at the airport, the airplane pod. I don't know if you know it. It, it looks like an alien capsule where you sleep in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have never been there, but I saw it on television. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. So that was the only thing I booked, and I arrived there at like 2 in the night or something. And I was just like, I'm going to sleep, and I just was in my little pad, and I was like, oh, okay, everything's fine again. It was really like a roller coaster, like help me, and then I was like, oh, it's all fine. And so yeah, and then other adventures happened, and I stayed there for 4 months.
Okay, but I don't know how you started this because when I came here to Mexico, it was because of a friend, and my friend went to the airport I was arriving in, and she picked me up, and it was like I didn't have to worry about anything. I was sure there was somebody who was waiting for me. I was, and she
Mm,
told me, well, we are not going to go to Mexico City. We are going to go to another place. And I was like, okay, take me wherever you want. I don't have any plan. But in your case, you were alone in a country without speaking the language, and you were like in phase two, because the basis of phase two is like the I don't know philosophy, and also just follow your intuition, right? Only that. How do you see that experience now that you know that you have the knowledge we have?
Yeah, it's actually so funny because I realized this when I had a conversation, a coaching call with Andra, and because he told me a bit about like sometimes you feel the urge and you just go and you don't even know how or when or what. And then I was like, oh, that's what I experienced when I went to Mexico. I was done. There was something in me who was like, doesn't matter how I get there or how much it costs or who I'm with, I'm going. So looking back at that, it was like it was already there. I just didn't know it. And looking back, maybe if I knew, I would be more relaxed, or maybe not because it's
Mhm.
supposed to be like this. So
Exactly, exactly, yes.
yeah,
Okay. And how did you start this community? I mean, why did you join to the community? When?
for me, it was the biggest thing, the constant loop of like kind of being in this circle, in this rat race kind of thing. How do you call it? The hamster wheel?
Yeah.
And like just running, trying to keep up, and like you can't stop, or you can get off, or it feels like that. And then I saw some posts or videos from Sam. It was in very beginning when it was not phase two yet, that she gave other kind of advice. And I followed her, and then her content changed to the phase two, and then I was like, this is interesting. This clicks, like you feel something, and like so I followed that. And then when the first ebook came out, I was like, I want to read that. That sounds interesting. And it was a
Uh-huh.
lot of feeling from everything.
And when was it? I have the book here.
Exactly, yeah.
When
I
was
think it
the
was around October, maybe maybe September, October, but I joined in October the community, and I don't know how long before that I read the books or anything like that. But I think if you read the book, you can get access to the free space. So I think in almost immediately in the free space, and then later onto the paid space. That's how I got in the community. Like I was like, how I'm feeling. It feels like first I don't like it, and second, it feels like other people don't feel like this, and I want that. So
uh,
yeah, I think that's the general story.
and when you mentioned that you were in a loop, was it about money or any other situation or many others?
Well, first I thought it's money. I was like, it's because I don't have money. It's why I'm this or that, or things happening in my life, or if I have money, it will be better, blah, blah, blah. But then you come into the community and you're like, oh, that's not it. That's not their problem.
Mhm.
Then you know, or not know, but you realize there's more there. It's more about feeling.
Yeah. And did it change? Did your situation change?
For me, it's more that's inside of me it changed, like emotionally, feelings wise, more kind of an inner knowing that like in the beginning it was more of the hamster wheel. You're stuck and you're like you have one thought, and now I kind of know that you can change it, or you can change what you feel, what you think, what you want, what you have.
Hmm.
So it was more about the feeling that changed for me. And because the feelings changed, I would say my life also changed, but not that I can show it physically. I could not show you like, oh, this is what I bought, or this is what I have in my account.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is how it changed. It's more, yeah, it's more from inside, and you can also not really show it.
Yeah. So how do you feel? What feelings do you have now comparing to the past?
I would say now that we learn not to label it.
Mm-hmm.
It's no, it's hard because then I would label it like death and depression, anxiety, sadness, this kind of things. And I wouldn't even know if I feel that if I feel the same right now because it more feels like an energy and experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I still feel things, but I try not to label it, and it's less drowning, I would say.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, it was really like heavy, like here on the chest or here, and you're just like all your body. It's more kind of weighing you down, like pulling you, like stay here in the same place. It's too much. Everything takes too much energy, and now it's more. If you feel something like that, and it's never that heavy anymore like before, but if I feel something like that, I know probably the next day or even in a week can change. Like I have the I would say like power. I can decide how to feel, or when it's like okay, now I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's the difference
Mm-hmm.
from then and now.
Uh-huh. Maybe the main lesson that you have learned, according to what you are saying, is that you learn how to accept uh, your reality, your situation, your feelings, and feel what you are feeling, and not label them, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I cannot even. It's really hard to compare because I don't label it that much. If it happens, I know it's just my thoughts that's trying to make sense of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not that heavy anymore like before. It's not a constant the same thing. It's not like the hamster wheel that's the same, the same, the same.
But although you are saying that you cannot show it physically, you told me that you changed jobs, right? Before
Yeah.
phase two, where you were working?
Yes. I think it was customer care before.
Yeah, and that's a difficult job.
Yeah.
Yeah, labeling
I want
you.
it's like yeah, if we should label it like I wouldn't even say difficult, but more draining.
Yeah.
If I have to label it, it would be kind of a negative space for me in my experience because they call to complain or something is wrong. They never call to say how amazing the company is. So
No, no, never.
yeah,
And what were your working hours?
it it was the last one. Oh yeah, both. By the way, both were 40 hours a week.
Per week. Okay. And I guess, I suppose you ended up stressed, really stressed.
Yeah, and for me, the last one was not even that stress, but the one I had before was really stressful for me. or well, I labeled it as stressful, but I would say it was just not. Yeah, the job was not appreciative. Like the pay was low and was hard work, and then yeah, I don't know. It's all these feelings I could label them, but it was just a lot of heavy energy. And the last one was actually really chill and easy, but it was 40 hours of just being stuck to my desk, and I could not go anywhere because it was really quiet, sometimes almost no work on a day, but also you could not really do anything else because you're stuck to your desk.
Really?
And you have to be present for if there's a chat or something incoming. So I would say this one was not that stressful and pretty easy, but it was still draining. So that's why I cannot compare it. It was just draining energy for both, although it was both different jobs, but both kind of energy draining. So that is the one thing I could say I could show with phase two after I had coachings with Andra. I felt that I could start teaching online. And first it was the community. So I first started with the community, and in the community I was like, oh, I could do this. Like I could start this. So I did, and then it was fun in the beginning, and it was and it started to get draining again. So I was like, something is like in the hamster wheel again. Like I am free. I have my own teaching job, for example. I started something new, and I was like all this big energy, excited, like, oh, I did something, I did it. But then it started something draining again. So I was like, oh, so it's not the money, it's not the job, it's something else. And then I had the coaching and the books and everything. And then it's like, oh, it's me.
It's
I'm the
me.
problem.
Exactly, exactly. Um,
Yeah.
well, now you teach online and also you have an additional job, which is as a front desk in a massage uh,
Massage company, I would say.
company. Yeah. And which one do you like the most, or would you like to change it? Would you like to do something different, or you are okay now?
I like the combination for now. Also because I can do my tasks from the different project in the community. So I meet new people every time, and sometimes I or someone else can connect me, or I can connect them, and I can appreciate people. So I can do my tasks because I have to. I have to go out,
Uh-huh.
and it's like no choice. And if I don't have to work, I try to do it online because you have many options without going out of the house in these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like it, but also it's a new experience. It's not stressful and it's fun. But it's yeah, it can change. I love it that I know that nothing has to be forever, but also it's fine if it is forever.
Hmm. And I don't know exactly where Amsterdam is, but you speak Dutch, right?
Yes, so that's
Yeah,
from the Netherlands.
the Netherlands. You know, I have perception. Well, I hope it's not a bad perception, but that's a judgment also. And I always thought that people from Europe or from those lands were very cold people. I mean, here in Mexico, people are very friendly. You can go anywhere and you can talk to anybody, and they smile and they make jokes, jokes to you. Even in the taxi, I can make friends. I am like, oh, how was your day? And he is the taxi drivers start to speak. They like to speak, and I know many stories from them. They talk me about their families, their jobs, and I enjoy it. But uh, people the from your city or the part of the world where you live, how how are you? You are very nice with me, but in general.
Yeah, I can imagine what you mean. It's just a different experience. Yes, I noticed in Mexico, I experienced like friendliness, people talking to you. But of course, it's also some people who are not like that. So, but the biggest part, yeah, it's different. It's a different experience, and that was also like a tiny bit of a part why I wanted to travel to experience something else, another culture, maybe more warm and open. And I'm imagined like music and dancing. So it's very different here, but here you can also experience some things that you can't experience in other countries. So I try to appreciate those parts and also appreciate that I can go to another experience, another country if I want to, or if I want to experience something else.
Mhm.
So in the beginning, it was kind of, how do you say that, running away from where I was instead of accepting it or appreciating it because I thought it was all outside of me. So I was like, it's the country, it's the weather, it's Mali, it's this, it's that. And then you're in that country and it's nice and it's a nice experience, but then you're like, still the same feelings, something. Yeah, so I've learned to accept it and appreciate it here. And also in my head, it's a lot of times if I can appreciate, have fun, and accept where I am right now, then it's gonna be easy everywhere
Yeah.
if I can do it here right now.
You're right. You're right. That happened to me some weeks ago that I thought I had to restart my life again, and I thought I had to move from the place I was living. But the problem wasn't outside. The problem was inside of me, and um, I try to feel my feelings and just face my reality. And now I am enjoying the place I am. That that is the same that where I was, and
Yeah.
I am like in heaven. I feel very comfortable. I move some the places where I had the stuff. For example, this place is my favorite. I always take a flower here, and I enjoy it. And you're right. This is inside, not outside. And Carolina, so when you started phase 2, uh, what do you think is the or are the strange things that happen to you applying the basis of phase 2?
Strangers.
Yes, some people in the
Hmm.
community say, "Oh, I had some yeah, an amount of money in my bank account. I don't know where, but it is there." For example.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that a lot of that's why I said for me it's more inside and less that I can show because I didn't have these things with the money like that they have something up here or but I probably had something like that but didn't see it as phase 2
Mhm.
more that sometimes you get something for free or discount or something doesn't go through with the card but it's still paid. So probably happened, but I wouldn't like remember something like that now.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I had something like, ooh, what's this amount on my.
What thing that is some something that we share, an idea that we share, is that we having a mentor is something important, right? Uh, what do you think about it, and how did it help to you?
I think it's really nice to have a mirror, anyone who can tell you like another perspective, because what we also learn in community is that you don't know everything and you also don't have to. Like the more you know, the more complicated it gets. So the part where you were like, oh, now I know. I know everything now. I've learned everything. I don't need to know more. I don't need to learn more. I know it. And then that's where it goes like again in the hamster wheel where you're like, I know it, I don't need help. And then you're stuck again and you're asking for help and then you're like, oh, okay, I did it again. I thought I knew, so I didn't. How do you say that? I didn't saw another perspective because you see one way, your way, and you're like, this is correct, this is right, and you try to follow that and do that because oh, I know it, but then you're stuck and you're like, maybe I don't know, and then someone else shows you another perspective, and you're like, oh, right,
Yeah, I feel it.
and then it's so easy.
Yeah, because it's amazing how we are stuck in our limitations because we have learned all those ideas from our parents, our the society, our friends, and we are like the perfect students. And when you want to change any idea, or you are in front of any situation, you apply those lessons, right? But when you hear another person, especially from a mentor, that can tell you that's not like that necessary. You can see it from this perspective, as you said, and you say, yeah,
Mhm.
why not? You're right.
Yeah, and also letting you know that all the rules that you think you have to follow is just a lot of times that people made up. It's not even the law. It's just people were like, oh, if you're this, you cannot do that, or if you do that, you cannot be this. And then you're like, oh, okay. And then you accept it, but it's not necessarily true, or you don't even have to like oblige to it. And then you're like, wait, what? I don't have to? And then you're
Exactly.
like, of course not. It's not a law. It's not, it's just someone gives his opinion, his or her opinion. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I should follow that. But it's just an opinion from someone.
Uh-huh. And then it matches perfectly with Andre's concept of phase one, right? Phase one, he says, is it's the game of other people, and you are worried about other people, and you learn everything from other people, your parents, your teachers, whoever, and then you're stuck on those ideas. And but it, when you allow yourself to do something different as your trip, the trip that you made is so incredible, and everything went well, right? Did you have any kind of problems?
Yeah, I had, the thing is, well, it's of course a label, but
Mm.
a lot of things happen. Well, a lot, I wouldn't say a lot, but a few things happen. But even that was okay. And now that I think about it, I really was like control freak and really scared. So I wouldn't say I was like, oh, happy me walking on the street. But at a certain time, I was so used in Merida, where I was 2 months. I just walked 3 a.m. in the middle of the night from a club, a little bit of drinks, alone on the street. And I was like, oh, if anybody knew this, they would like say, what are you doing? So I just never told someone. Just later, when I came back, I told everyone, like, oh, I did these things. But the funny thing is, everyone tried to say their opinion, and for me, it was far away. So it felt like I could ditch it more, because when it's like in your house or where you live and it's your friends, it felt more close by, but I was on the other side of the world almost. And people called me and I was like, oh, I'm going to Guadalajara. And they were like, what? You're going there? It's like the mafias are there, and this happens there, and the cartel is there. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I didn't know. I just went there because it was just random. Like, let me go there. And I was just almost like, oh, it's going to be scary there. It's going to be mafia and cartel and everything. And I was there and I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's there, but it's not every day. And I walked there on my own. Nothing happened. And there were universities and nice people. And so
Yeah.
now that I think about it, then I didn't know it, but it felt like all intuitive because I just did it, although everyone said, like, don't do it, it's dangerous. And also with some things that happened, like I lost some stuff and then got it back. And then for 1 week, I lived with like only one plastic bag of like some underwear and one dress and one other set of clothing. And then later I got everything back. But it was so funny because it was one day where I was like losing it. I was like, I'm gonna go home. I don't know what to do. And then the rest of the week, I was just, I'm enjoying this actually because I don't have any stuff. I only have my phone, passport, and I think like the bank card. And I had one dress and one set of clothing, like shorts and like a top. But I also felt the most free and like less scared because no one could do me anything. I didn't have anything.
Exactly. You didn't have anything to lose.
I was like, I can't even lose anything because I already lost everything. And it was the most free week of my life. I just went with a plastic bag with some underwear and two clothings and I was like, no one can do me something. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, steal my underwear?
You're right. You were like
So
that for 1 week?
yeah,
Wow.
1 week.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that's it. Now that I think about it, how do you say that? Think back about it. I was like, how did I do that? Because I was such like anxiety, depressed, and like really. But I still did it, and I enjoyed it. And I was like, if I think about it, I was like, wow, maybe there was already kind of a phase 2 approach without me knowing it. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's so funny. And eventually, I got everything back, and yeah, only my tablet was stolen. But af- after that, I was like, nothing happened with the information, and I just used it to watch some things and sometimes like look something up. But I could also do that on my phone. And I never bought a tablet again because I was like, I actually don't really need it on my travel. And of course, it's not nice, but I was like, I can manage it. I can live with a sack with underwear and toothbrush and some clothing. So I'm like, it feels lighter. It feels more free. So sometimes you label something as like terrible or bad, but actually it was amazing. Of course, I don't mean like, oh yeah, steal my stuff or I don't want stuff. It was just the experience was
Enjoy
really
the experience.
freeing. Yeah. And
Enjoy.
I would never thought that I could enjoy it. I was like, oh, I would probably go fly back to home or something, but I was just like, wow, I've never been so free.
And it's like I was listening to a live from Sam, and she said that we have, we always have our intuition talking to us, and sometimes we have heard it, and sometimes no, but we complicate it when they say, listen to your intuition, and you say, but what is my intuition? I don't have any intuition, or and we start looking for answers where, when it's something that is inside of us naturally, and the thing that you lift is the proof of it, because you follow your intuition as in a way that nobody would. Any person would be scared and go to the police office, or come back to their countries probably, or I don't know, go to the embassy. I don't know, but you accepted that, which is face to faces, and you enjoy it, which is to face to basis as well. And it's amazing, Ana Carolina. Let me ask you something about the money. How did your money perspective change?
Mm, that's a good one. I'm not sure. I would say most big thing is that I thought it was hard to make, and also that I would never like level up with the money amount per month. I was like, first I was in hospitality and I thought this is my maximum. Then I went in customer care and I was like, okay, this is my maximum. And then I was like, what now? How do I level up again? And I didn't know how to because I didn't want 40 hours in the office. And like, so I was like, or I stay here with the maximum, or I work harder and more energy and uh, like no. So, and then with these teachings, I was like, oh, you can do it in another way. Like there's more ways. It's not, you don't have to do like 40 hours stuck on a desk and like someone like in your neck who's saying like, work harder, work more, work harder,
Don't
work
move,
more.
don't move,
Yeah.
stay there.
And like, oh, what I hated with one of the jobs was like you had timers for, well, yeah, not timers, but like you had time for going to the toilet. So it was like you get 10 minutes a day or something, and then I was like, but I don't know, but what if anything? What if I'm sick or if period or whatever? And it's like you get 10 minutes. And it's like
Oh my goodness, no,
it sounds so weird that you have a time for going to the toilet,
no way. Oh my god.
and everything was like you have to break. And I know more jobs have that, like you have 50 minutes break and then half hour, but they were really timing it. They were like, oh, you had 5 minutes, now you have this. And I was like, it sounds, you're so stuck. No freedom. That's at least my experience where I worked. Maybe other jobs it's less like that, but that was for me where I was like, okay, no, this is like I don't want a timer for my toilet time.
And you thought that was the limit of money you could make, but now what do you
Now
think?
I know it's easier and that you can decide if you want it differently, but also that you maybe don't need more than you think. Like you, mm, maybe what you earn is already enough if you accept yourself and where you are, and that you accept that you maybe don't need more, and that the thinking that you want or need more can drain you down.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
thinking that you, like, I need more, and it's like, for what? And that you think that you need and want more, that it's gonna make you happy. But then when you have it, it's like maybe you won't feel more happy or better. So it's not first money and then happiness or nice feeling. It's more other way around.
Uh-huh. Mm, Probably you had or have depth. And what about it? What do you think
Mm,
about that? Because I think we have to pay some things, studies, loans, whatever. And when we tell to people, don't worry, you don't need more money, and they say, how I have to pay it? I need more money. What are you talking about?
mm, yeah, that's a good one. I know Andra and Sam and Mandy also, I think, talk about this a lot. So I would say they can maybe give a better answer to that because I didn't have that much debt. I would say I have a school debt, but here in the Netherlands, it's not being seen as real debt. It's just because it's really low and you don't pay.
Mm,
Um, I'm not sure how to say it, like the extra money for the renting the money. You don't pay that on top of the
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 interest,
loan. I think it's interest in English. I'm not sure.
I think so.
So it's you have one amount,
Uh-huh.
and I don't have anything per month coming on top of that.
Yeah, the
So it's
interest.
only one amount. Yeah. So they don't see it as a debt here,
Oh,
but it's also really, for me at least, really low. So
mhm,
I cannot tell you about my experience with that.
mhm.
I know that they talk about it, but from my experience,
Yeah.
I
Yes,
don't
you're
know
right.
how.
I asked this to Andra, and he told me, enjoy your debt. And I was like,
Mm.
oh.
Yeah, I think he said something like that. Yeah, like think about how it made you feel and what you can do with it,
Exactly.
and like feel those feelings. Yeah.
That's exactly what he told me. You were able to to have an experience with that money, so be thankful and pay it with in that energy. And I was like, yes, I can do whatever I want, wherever I want. Those things that I shouldn't,
Yeah.
probably labeling judgment, but I can do
Yeah.
anything, anything. And yes, we were talking about money in the community. And one thing that surprised me recently is how people is asking for money for your for their services. And it's like my ideas, my mentality is breaking down because it's strange. It's not familiar for me to ask $1,000 per hour or
Right.
or $300 for a session. And I was like, really? They are asking like this kind of money?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Like, or at least I have the same, like wow, people are asking high numbers.
Uh-huh.
It's like I haven't experienced that yet. That I'm like, okay, let me put myself up there, out there, and ask like €1,000 for something. How has that been for you?
I've been asking for that. It was mm, kind of difficult. I am working with this girl, Shweda, who is 21 years old, and I enjoy talking with her because she is like a child. Yeah, you can do it, and this and this and that. And I am like, I am full of old ideas that I have to throw away,
Uh,
and it's a little bit difficult to accept their ideas, but she pushed me, she encouraged me to do it. And yesterday she told me, ask for money in the community, and I was like, what? What are you talking about? Yes, ask for money. And I can't. And I was analyzing that reaction, and I said, okay, how our parents, our ideas are so deep inside of us that it's like a bad thing or something bad to ask for money. And I was thinking, but I didn't do anything for the exchange. But the thing is that Andra always say, appreciate your existence. You deserve everything because you exist. That's all. Why not receiving money from other people? And I did it. I don't know if something paid me or gave me money, but I don't have expectations about that. But the thing was, post that post.
yeah.
So I in this community we are learning a lot. We are learning to
Sometimes it's just only the asking. Like, why is there so much energy for just asking something? Because asking is, you may get a no or a yes or a maybe. And it doesn't matter if it's a yes, no, or maybe. It's just a question. But still, you're like, no, I can't. Why not? It's just a question. If it's a no, also fine. If it's yes, fine. If maybe, fine. But all these things are coming up. You can't, why not?
yes, and
People around you said it, you accepted it, and like, why?
I think you should try it. It's really different.
Yeah, I will sit with that and ask my intuition, like, what can we do? What can we do to expand my experience?
Exactly.
Is that how you asked it, or is it did you do it with Sweda?
Yeah, yeah. I think Shweta is like my mirror and part of my intuition. I was hearing that Sam was saying that your intuition not only comes like feelings or images, but also people. You are walking and somebody mm, tell you, "Oh, look at that flower is on sale. Don't you think this is nice?" And you have two possibilities. Say, "Yes, uh, why don't I buy it?" Or say, "That's okay, I don't care." So,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it was so true, and I feel that now with Shweta because she is like telling me the things I have inside, and she expresses that
Mm.
for me.
So she gets it out of you that you can voice it.
Exactly, exactly. I would so like to continue talking with you in the future, in the next days, if you agree.
Yeah, it's really nice. I didn't realize we were already talking an hour or something.
Yeah, it was a long
And then I
time.
was like, oh, it felt like maybe 10 minutes or something.
Okay, Ana-Carolina, I want to thank you. It was a very nice conversation, and I don't know if you want to say something else.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the energy, and yeah, glad that you invited me. I felt really heard and I felt seen.
Oh,
So it's always nice to have a conversation where you feel like you can say anything and the person understands you or wants to know more about it. So I really appreciate this conversation.
thank you for those words.
Yeah, great.
Okay,
Thank you. Have a
thank
nice
you.
day and see you next time.
You too. Goodbye.